What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamer Dad channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Before we jump in, let's get the formalities out of the way. Merry Christmas season. Happy New Year in advance. And it's been a very, very interesting year so far. I haven't made a lot of videos in the last few days because for the most part, I have kind of told myself that I want to engage very minimally with the Division until the developers are ready to announce their Division 3 project. Now, this is crazy because I'm coming out swinging in this video, not even coming with any of the conversations that I've had in the past about possibilities and what studios are working and whatnot. I've made this case like 2 years ago or about a year ago, where I talked about the fact that you still have Yannick on payroll as a creative director should tell you that his main job right now is he's working on a video game. For those who keep saying that there might not be a Division 3 project, you also have to open the possibility that there is a project that is going to be under Yannick Branchot as we speak right now, because he is a creative director. In Ubisoft Massive, creative directors' jobs are to steer the ship to release and punch out a video game. Julian Garrity, who is the creative director that actually worked on the Division 2, is on the Star Wars project, and Magnus Jensen, who did the Division 1, is on the Avatar project. So confirmed, we have 3 creative directors within Ubisoft Massive that I'm mentioning in this video. There might be others, I just don't know. And so with 3 of them, 2 of them, we know what games they're working on. The other one is working on the Division 2 right now. That's his official title. That's Yannick. So when you think about that, then you have to see that there probably is a game that Yannick is overseeing. And I'm making Yannick the subject of this conversation because I think everyone kind of forgets how much he's been in the Division ecosystem and pipeline. So I want to go ahead and do that and kind of maybe pull out some of these different, archive files for you guys to come back and see. Number one, Yannick was a community developer of some kind, I think, in the Division 1. He used to work alongside Hamish and alongside, the team to get State of the Games going, announcements going. He's been a face to the franchise for a very long time. In fact, I think he's been a face to the franchise even longer than the creative director of the Division 1. I mean, obviously, because the creative director of Division 1, by 2017, when they made their announcement that they were working on Avatar, had already been shifted to that project. So even he did not necessarily get a lot of, airtime compared to Yannick and even Hamish at that time, right? Then the Division 2 came out, and Julian Garrity, being the creative director for the Division 2, was basically heralding that project, but his associate creative director was Yannick. Yannick had moved up in the pipeline as somebody being in that, entirety of the game where decisions and announcements and things would have to basically come from Julian. Yannick was able to get a lot of the press releases and stuff, going out. That's the face that we also saw to the game. So looking at 2 major games, you have somebody who has experience as to how the pipeline of the game actually goes. To the best of my knowledge, I think right now in the studio, in Tom Clancy's The Division, from a leadership role, Yannick has a lot more experience in that game than, say, anybody else. So why is he still working at that studio if he's not making a game within which he has all of that experience? Question mark. You have to answer that question with the answer that says it is highly unlikely that he is not going to be working on a Division project, or at least there's a possibility that he's working on another project that will take on a lot of the elements of the Division, whereby he's going to be able to, take on those things, implement in a whole different game, a whole new franchise. These are 2 possibilities out here. So this is one of the reasons that I've just sat put. I'm just waiting because, yes, Red Storm seems to be in the process of getting the Division Heartland out, but we haven't necessarily gotten enough information from them to know exactly where it is they are and where they stand. I don't know what it is with their development cycle or with their development process. Maybe they didn't necessarily tap into a lot of the different studios out there, or they couldn't tap into those studios to get the game driven, or maybe because of their experience, they're churning out the next game in, hand in hand with Massive as time is going on. So these are possibilities that we as a community need to take into account. Another thing too is the Star Wars game that is in development. A lot of the Division, folk that worked on that project have moved over to that project. So expect to see a lot of those developers being the ones to actually bring forward that Star Wars project. That's usually what it seems like Ubisoft Massive is about. They'll take the experienced team that has already shipped out a project, move them to another project, while there are other people that are being formed to get another project that probably is in the same line going off the ground. If you think about the Division 1 and Avatar, they both share a lot of their development team, if you think about it. And so I'm thinking that Division 2 and Star Wars are going to share a lot of their development team. And then whatever the next game is coming out is going to be made up of a mixture of, say, more seasoned developers within the entire pipeline and a lot of new team members. So when you think about all of this, I think, in my opinion, it's the best and the safest bet to just, kick back, relax, and wait to see what exactly this entire franchise is going to be about in the next year. I think we're probably going to be getting, in my opinion, a Division announcement by E3. Why I say this is because Avatar, the Frontiers of Pandora game, is more than likely going to be getting a way to rear its head very soon, because the movie right now, according to the talk that we heard, which seems to be much more factual, is that James Cameron wanted the movie to first get the shine and get the spotlight before the game ever got any more mentions. And if you think about it, we barely heard anything about the game after the first reveal that we got to see in the 2021 Ubisoft Forward event. So putting that in perspective, we didn't hear anything for all of 2022 so far. The game went on wish listing, according to one of my audience members, about almost 2 weeks ago. And the movie right now is basically, going crazy in the box office. So this is exactly what it is that they probably were waiting for and planning from a PR perspective. And once the movie has basically gotten all of the exposure that it needs to be able to rake in all these box office gains, then the game is going to come on the back end to be able to get things flowing. I think this is how it is that they want to play it. And then once it's played, then I think this is where we're going to be hearing about a Division project. The Star Wars project, yes, it is a, some kind of an important project within Ubisoft Massive, or I shouldn't say that. Maybe the devs are laughing, saying some kind, or maybe it's like super, important. I get it, but we have to understand that a Ubisoft studio has got to be churning out a Ubisoft original as well. This is something that Ubisoft basically prides itself in its portfolio by its original games. Assassin's Creed, the Tom Clancy games, the Far Cry franchise, and even creating newer franchises within its ecosystems, or at least supporting its newer franchises like, Watch Dogs and the Immortals Phoenix game and so on and so forth. You have to actually think about a Division game within a very, very talented studio like Massive. So this is why I think we're going to be hearing something around the E3 timeframe, or maybe before then, because usually you know how it works, right? We get wind of it, then there's like a leak, and then there's like a newspaper article, or did I say newspaper? Then there's an article somewhere, and then eventually you find yourself in a position where you're talking Ubisoft Massive and all of this stuff. And so this is what I think is going to happen. I think you're going to get that particular content show up at that time frame. But it is what it is. I'm just holding my, little own here. I'm working on my second channel at the same time. Took a break from both of them nonetheless this past few days. And I'm just dealing with a lot of the, events in that ecosystem while I'm waiting for them to make their announcement for the Division 3. It's going to be a long wait. It's not something that's going to happen very soon. Yeah, I do have a certain level of looking forward to Division Heartland, but I'm not really certain how that game is going to resonate with me, specifically me. Why? I'm a very picky shooter gamer. I don't play shooters much. For me to have played The Division meant that it had something that I do like, and I think I've come to realize that it's the RPG nature of The Division itself that makes me actually like the game. I like RPGs, and not all of them. So the ones that I do like are kind of unique in their own sense. But it is what it is. I guess we can continue the conversation, say, based on other events that I want to talk about within the Division community. And this video is running long already, but I'd love for you to respond and react to this and tell me what it is you think about a whole Division 3. And one of my audience members actually had a bet with me that we're not going to get a Division 3. And so I'm hoping that, the bet holds up in my case anyways, but I'm never lucky. And so I never bet. So maybe betting against, or betting for the Division 3 might jinx the whole project overall. Oh no. All right, I'll get out of your hair. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.